you're watching this, it means that you've actually purchased the app, and first of all, I want to say thank you. Second of all, let's kind of get into the nuts and bolts of how to actually use the app. In this video, I'm going to talk kind of broad strokes initial setup, and then in the next video, I'll get into the actual details of how to drive each individual tab. And then we'll finish it off with more just talking about the day-to-day usage and what that actually looks like for a production office or anyone who's going to actually be using and updating the app. So to start off, if you've purchased the app, you'll probably be at your dashboard screen. And if you're here, you want to go ahead and click into the app. If it's not already updated to being a Pro app on Glide, there should be a button here that says something like Update to Pro. You will have to do that for this app to work for your film. It costs $30 a month, and I think for most films, you're going to be shooting for a month or two if it's a small film. So what, 30 to 60 bucks for run a show. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow that background app refresh or background data refresh, which essentially means if anything changes, if anyone submits any response or anything like that, you don't have to come in here and smash that reload sheet button. Also, there's a lot of really cool features in the app that are only available if you upgrade to that Pro status. So once you've upgraded to that Pro status, you need to go to your Google Drive, and when you purchase the app, whatever email address you use to purchase the app, it went ahead and it put in this master sheet into your Google Drive. So go to that now and let's talk about how you're going to steer this app. Because although you're in this Glide dashboard, you will not have to use this really for much of anything when using the app. You can come in here and you can, for example, you could share the app this way. You could copy the link here, you could send a phone, but you can actually do that directly on the app. So really there's not really any reason that you would have to come back here for day-to-day use versus this whole sheet is built for you to actually drive the app using just the sheet. So when you open this up, you'll be on the App Directions tab, and this tab is just kind of giving you a basic overview of how this sheet's laid out. First of all, these videos are what you're watching now, and it's going to give you kind of an overview of how to use the app. The tab color codes are really important. So there's actually some hidden tabs in here, or there's some hidden sheets in here that you do not need to access. You can access some of them, and we'll talk about these colors. For example, the red tabs, that is basically anything that you put into these red tabs. They're going to be inputs directly into the app, and it's what you're going to spend 99% of your time on is these red tabs. If there's a green tab, it's hidden right now, but it correlates directly to the blue tab next to it. And this is just simply a way to protect the core data and the core responses. Now you should know all of your Google stuff is saved constantly, and if you ever lost really important data, you could actually reload a previous version of the sheet. But just to kind of keep that from happening, because reloading certain versions can lose other data, this is just a first step or an easy way to kind of save the core responses. For example, this is some dummy health response or COVID responses. So if someone responded on that tab, it would actually show up here, but in reality, we would just want to access it here because that puts a barrier between anybody deleting any actually really important information. The purple tabs, there's actually only one purple tab and it's hidden. You just do not need to mess with that tab. It's very important. If you change too many things on that or mess it up in a certain way, you could completely break the app. So purple is just a no-fly zone. So yeah. So there's some general rules you should follow. For example, be careful adding and deleting rows. That's just a general idea, generally good principle when messing with spreadsheets. You should leave columns hidden if they're hidden. Generally, they're going to be hidden for a good reason because they just need to be out of the way, or you don't need to look at what's on it. You should know the app is a live service, which means anything you do to the app, any updates you make to, for example, a crew member's name or their role, or anything, it's going to show up on the app at that point. So do not change anything, do not change a link or update a file unless you want it to be accessed in the moment. And the last thing is any links to files on Google Drive or Dropbox that you want people to be able to access, they need to be set to where anyone can view them. I can show you that really quick here. For example, when you just take the link for a photo or a file, make sure instead of it being restricted, make sure it's anyone with link. That's the only difference. So yeah, this app directions tab, you won't really have to spend any time on. Once you get the hang of the app, you can actually just hide this and forget it's there. But the control center tab is actually where you're going to spend most of your time driving the app. In this tab, each of these boxes actually correlates directly to a tab. For example, this app menu control does exactly what it sounds like. It controls these menus. You can toggle these on and off, whether they're going to show up. The file links, just what it sounds like. They're going to update the file links. The day links, this actually updates a lot of stuff in the app and should be updated daily. But what shooting day are you on? What is the shooting date? Department list, we'll talk about what that does. Office contacts tab, catering menu, etc. The counting frequently asked questions, this correlates directly to frequently asked questions. If you want questions to show up, you have a place where you can put titles, bodies, and they will show up. If you don't want any questions to show up, you can delete them and the questions will go away. The crew list tab, this is also a tab that's kind of multifunction. It both is a crew list that you can print out and use as a crew list. It also correlates to the crew list, and it also drives the COVID response, which we'll get into later in another video. And all of these, essentially, like I said, they're pulling off the green tabs. The green tabs being the hidden tabs where the app is actually dumping the data. This blue tab is being a place that you can sort that data, or you can, just play with it in a way that doesn't actually endanger the core responses. And the app's login is it's going to be here because the first time that you ever actually go to the app to use it and you pull it up on your phone, people are going to be required to put in an email address. And that is just, it's kind of more of a security thing and allows you to track who's logged in. But once they put in their email address, it's going to send a code to their email, they'll put it in, they'll open the app, and then that's it. They don't have to do that again. It's a one and done. But it does allow you to kind of track who is using the app. It will connect to the crew list, and it allows you to give people access to certain features based on their email addresses. So that is a very important thing that people do and take seriously. So that kind of concludes the basic overview. In the next video, I'm going to get into how to run the entire app in the middle, just every tab, and talk about the features of it. And then we'll wrap this up with the day-to-day use video.